This extraordinary story unfolded in the rough wilderness of Canada. When Sean was on his way home after a successful day of fishing, instead of taking the usual path, he decided to venture through the dense bushes for a shortcut. Little did he know that this decision would lead to the most astonishing moment of his life. As Sean wandered just a few meters off the path, a massive black bear suddenly appeared right in front of him. The bear was so close that Sean could see her nose twitching as she breathed. Panic surged through Sean, but he remembered what he had been taught about dealing with encounters like this. He raised his arms and tried to make himself appear bigger and more intimidating, hoping the bear would see him as a potential threat and not prey. To Sean's surprise, the bear stood on its hind legs and sniffed him, inching even closer. It was a terrifying situation, but then something unexpected happened. The bear sat down and began to whimper. Sean, initially ready to retreat, found himself drawn to the bear's cries. He noticed that the bear had several cuts on her flank, and her front paw seemed injured. This could make the situation even more perilous. However, the bear didn't seem aggressive. She just appeared dejected. Sean remembered seeing a mother bear with her cub across the river earlier that day, and he suspected this was the same bear. But where was her cub? And what had caused her injuries? Sean realized that the bear was asking him for help, so he cautiously followed her to the river. Once they reached the river, Sean frantically searched for the bear cub, with the injured mother bear still by his side. Strangely, he couldn't spot any bear cubs. Just when hope seemed to wane, a dark head emerged from the water. Sean focused on the spot, and indeed, the bear cub's head popped up again, struggling to hold onto a rock as the water rushed over it. Sean knew he couldn't let the bear cub drown before his eyes, but he also understood the danger of the fast-flowing river. He thought quickly. Grabbing his fishing gear and a rope from his fish basket, he secured the rope around his waist, leaving a long end in front of him, and tied the other end firmly to a tree on the riverbank. Then, without hesitation, he plunged into the water. The river's current was even stronger than he had anticipated, but Sean, drawing on his Navy SEAL experience, fought his way towards the rocks where he had last seen the bear cub. On the riverbank, the mother bear anxiously paced back and forth, clearly worried but realizing the danger of the water. Sean clung to the rock, struggling to locate the bear cub amidst the relentless currents. Just when he thought all hope was lost, he spotted the bear cub's head again. With a burst of determination, he swam towards it. The cub seemed to stop struggling, and the situation grew dire. Sean pushed on, swimming with all his might, but the rope around his waist reached its limit. When the bear cub's head reappeared, he grasped it just in time. He worried that the cub might fight back or scratch him, but it lay limp in his arms. The next challenge was getting back to the safety of the shore, which would require both of his arms. Sean retrieved the discarded rope and secured it around the bear cub, allowing him to use all his strength to swim back. The cub's motionlessness both aided and concerned him. It could be too late to save the cub's life, and Sean dreaded the potential consequences if he reached the mother bear with her lifeless cub. But he couldn't dwell on that now. He had to focus all his energy on getting the cub to safety. As Sean's energy waned, adrenaline fueled him forward. Suddenly, his feet touched the riverbed, and they had reached shallower water. Sean picked up the bear cub and carried it out of the water. The mother bear approached them rapidly, surprisingly fast despite her injuries. Sean realized he needed to untie the rope from the bear cub before the mother bear reached them. He didn't even have time to examine the cub before the mother bear grabbed it. However, as the mother bear took a few steps toward the forest, she staggered dangerously and collapsed to the ground. The baby bear crawled over her, but she didn't move. Sean rushed closer to assess the situation. He could now see that the bear's cuts were worse than he had initially thought. Adrenaline had been masking the severity of her injuries, and now that her baby was safe, she had seemingly given in to the pain. Sean felt helpless, with no cell phone reception and too far from home to seek help. In this bleak moment, a miracle occurred. He heard the distant rumble of a pickup truck. He shouted loudly, and a group of foresters, who had witnessed his efforts to save the cub in the river, came to his aid. Some hikers who had seen the rescue joined them. They quickly alerted forest rangers, who arrived promptly with a large crate. Despite the mother bear's unresponsiveness, they managed to tend to her wounds, stopping the loss of blood. They carefully loaded her into the crate and rushed both bears to the nearest forest animal clinic for professional care. The mother bear underwent surgery that same day and developed infections in some of her wounds. The cub, still weak from its ordeal, was kept calm to rest and recover. It was an intense effort to nurse the mother bear back to health, but the presence of her cub seemed to give her the strength she needed to recover. Over time, both bears made a remarkable recovery, and the day came when they were ready to return to their true home, the forest. The rescue team and Sean had planned for the release, and they all gathered at the designated site in the forest. The moment the cage doors swung open was nothing short of magical. The mother bear immediately sprinted toward the forest, and the cub hesitated for a moment, glancing back at Sean before following its mother into freedom. Sean struggled to hold back tears, proud of having saved this little bear family, even though it was bittersweet knowing he might never see them again. If you found this incredible story of perseverance and wildlife conservation inspiring, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. By subscribing, you'll stay updated with more amazing stories, educational content, and ways you can contribute to the protection of our planet's precious animals. Join our community of nature enthusiasts and advocates today.